Welcome to this special series of the Craft Industry Alliance podcast. I'm Abby Glassenberg, the co-founder of Craft Industry Alliance, an online community for craft business owners. And in this limited series of our podcasts called Powering the Creative Economy with Spoonflower, we're focusing on artists and makers who have created innovative businesses using Spoonflower, the world's largest custom fabric, wallpaper, and home decor digital marketplace. In today's conversation, we're taking a deep dive into eco-friendly products with our guest, Nancy Mack. Nancy is the founder and owner of Freon Collective, an eco-conscious minimalist beauty and lifestyle brand. Freon comes from the Old English meaning friends or friendship, and she's incorporated all facets of her interests in beauty, design, and art into this label. Spoonflower provides on-demand digital printing using an eco-friendly, sustainable, and scalable manufacturing process. They like to say, if you can dream it, we can print it. And Nancy Mack took them up on that offer. Let's hear how she did it. So Nancy, tell us where you grew up and what your household was like when you were young.
So I actually grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My parents were both Vietnamese refugees, and I was actually born in Malaysia where they met, and then we came to Canada in the 90s. But I was a baby when I came here, so I pretty much grew up here. And I was always really crafty growing up, and I remember getting little DIY craft kits and things like that for Christmas or my birthdays. And in school growing up, especially coming from Alberta, there's a really big emphasis on trade school programs. I took fashion technology as one of my options in high school. And then that's where I learned how to sew and use sewing patterns and drafting and all of that.
That's cool. That's great that they had those classes. I had home ec in middle school, but I feel like nowadays it's a little harder to get access, but maybe not where you went to high school. Maybe that's still offered.
I think it is. I live in Ontario now, and I know that between the provinces, all the curriculum is very different, but I think there is still a pretty big emphasis.
That's great. Yeah. So when you graduated, did you feel like you were going to go into fashion design, or what happened next?
So I was actually kind of stuck between either going the more traditional like engineer route or going into the fashion designer route. And my parents were always very supportive of the creative side of what I wanted to do. So I actually went to fashion design school. I moved to Ontario for school. So I have a degree in fashion design now. I did it for 4 years, and so now I live in Toronto.
So was that degree like useful to you? Do you feel like now in the work that you do now, even though it's not necessarily directly fashion related, do you feel like some of the skills or drafting or things like that you learned during that degree program were helpful?
Definitely. Because after I finished school, I actually worked for a small business. It was a children's clothing brand, and I took a lot of the skills that I learned in my program, like sewing and drafting and all of that, and I took it into the work that I did after school. So
okay, and so It was a children's clothing brand. So were you actually doing the sewing, or were you doing designing?
I was on the production team, so I did a lot of the sewing, drafting, but actually since it was a small business, a lot of the times like our work overlapped with each other. I think there were only about like 5 or 6 employees. So even though I was doing the sewing and the cutting, occasionally I would drop in and help with some of the marketing and content creation and all of that. So,
yeah, that's a great opportunity to work for a small business where everybody has to wear multiple hats and kind of fill in. And so you get trained in a lot of different things. So how long were you there for? A few years?
I was there for about 2.5 years, and the owner of that business, she actually ran her business for I think 5 or 6 years. But at the time, I was also doing beauty blogging and content creation on the side, just as a little side hobby.
Okay. And so you started a beauty blog.
I
That's
did.
so interesting. And I can see the synergy with that and what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So what was your beauty blog about? Was it about like makeup and hair or something else?
It was mostly about makeup or skincare. So I would post a lot of reviews, do a lot of the photography, which is what I implement now into my small business too. Yeah.
Okay. And how are you making money through that? Was it sponsored posts?
Uh, Later on, I had a few sponsored posts, but honestly, it was just a side hobby. My main source of income at the time was through the job that I had with that small business. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
So, but you got some exposure to kind of creating content, building a following online, and
Yes.
that sort of side of things a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Okay. And so, how did you get interested in sustainability? Because I know a big part of your business now is all about sustainability and eco-friendly choices. And I wondered if that was sort of a stream that was, something you were thinking about all along, or.
Um, Definitely was later on. So actually, what had happened with that small business that I was working for when she closed, I took over a side of that business, which was the small batch production and manufacturing for some of the local businesses here in Toronto. So in September 2018, I basically moved all of the sewing machines and everything into my condo. And then I essentially started work from home. And then at the same time, too, I was still doing beauty blogging. I always knew that I wanted to do like an in-house brand or expand what Free and Collective could be. And with these local businesses that I was manufacturing for, a lot of them were small batch, locally made. Some of them were eco-friendly. So yeah, at the time I was pretty content just working with these local businesses to produce their products and make tech packs and patterns for them. But it was actually through blogging and doing work for one of my clients that I started the in-house brand of Free and Collective, which is all about like eco-friendly products and sustainability and all of that.
Okay, so you had the idea basically by going through the process of manufacturing for so many other small companies. And then was it suggested to you, or did you kind of say, hey, I really want to start my own brand that's going to involve beauty, but also be, small batch and also be eco-friendly? It kind of brings together all of these different
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah. Honestly, everything just kind of everything connects in some kind of way. So, with one of the clients that I still do work for them now. I actually use Spoonflower to curate prints for them every season. So every spring and summer, every fall and winter, I basically just give them a list of designs that I kind of think would suit their brand, and then they will choose some prints, and I produce headbands for them. And then just because of how these headbands are cut, I would always end up with a few extra inches of fabric. And then I would save all the scraps just because we like to keep our scraps. And at the time, though, I was actually growing kind of weary of beauty blogging. I just started to feel like there was a lot of waste in terms of product launches and a lot of packaging or even things getting sent to me in press releases. There was just a lot of excess. So then naturally, just because I was working for myself too, I was just slowing down on blogging quite a bit, but not before I actually posted a blog post about making my own cotton rounds. It was because I was growing kind of weary of all the different products and just excess of items that I was like, you know what? I feel like I should pick one thing that I can maybe make a reusable version of or cut back on something. So I had made my own cotton rounds, and it was just out of a completely different fabric. I realized I was using like a bag of those like cotton rounds that you just like get in the plastic bag and you like dispose them every time you use them, right? So I was like, well, why can't I just make a reusable version of these? So I did, and then they were fine for what they were. I wrote up a blog post about them, and then as soon as I did, literally like so many people messaged me or commented on that post about them, and said that they were a wonderful idea and that if I sold them, they would buy them. So then that's how that started.
Yeah. So you had that product market fit because you posted it and all these
Mm-hmm.
people were like, oh, wow, this is a great idea. And so it sounds like you first kind of got introduced to Spoonflower through a client where you were like curating, meaning you were going into the Spoonflower marketplace and saying, here's a set of spring designs from other designers that I think would
Yep.
be great for your product.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super cool. Okay. And so, and then you made this post, so you thought that would be really cool. And so did you start to, did you like create an Etsy shop or did you start to sell them right after people said, I would buy some?
Yeah, so that was actually quite a few months. The post itself was quite a few months before I even started the in-house brand of Freon Collective. So over the next few months, I tested out the cotton rounds on different fabrics. I did my own testing, and then I remembered that I had those Spoonflower scraps from that client.
Right.
And I was like, okay, let's try it out with this fabric. And so I did, and it was perfect. So I had enough scraps for I think like 6 or 7 sets of cotton rounds. And then I took all of the photos, I made all of the tags, did all the branding, and then I opened up an Etsy shop in January of 2019. Yeah, and then I just continued from there. I think like within a week they all sold, which is crazy because I had this connection with the beauty blogging world and all of that. And then, yeah, so since 2019, I've just been working on growing the in-house brand of Freon Collective. And at the same time, I'm still producing and manufacturing for local businesses in Toronto.
Okay, I was going to ask if you were still doing that. So you still have these other clients.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. And so, so what substrate of fabric among Spoonflower substrates ended up being the best for the cotton rounds?
So we use 100% organic cotton knit for the cotton rounds, and that also gets used for a couple of the other products too.
Okay. And are you, I'm assuming you're no longer using the scraps from other people's projects.
No.
You're actually buying yardage. So who is doing the designing of the fabric now?
So I actually have a few from Spoonflower that I use, if I can remember them. Crystal Whalen, Erin Kendall are the two that I use the most. But I'm also working with a lot of local surface designers in Toronto to design custom prints now. So
okay, and are they uploading to Spoonflower themselves, or are you helping them with that process?
So they give me the design, and then I go in through my own account and I upload
it. Okay, got it. That's really cool that you're helping local artists get onto the platform. So yeah, and that's really neat. So you have these cotton rounds, and that was it sounds like your only product for a little while. You had the one product.
Yeah, for a few months actually, but over time, I started introducing different products. I had a lot of customers purchase the cotton rounds and love them so much, and then they would ask, or they would even message me and say, hey, like, I would love this in a face cloth, or I would love this design in a headband or a hair scrunchie, or a tote bag or something. Yeah, so over time, I was able to introduce more products.
Okay, got it. So now you do have scrunchies, you have the face cloths, which is basically kind of like a washcloth. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what other products do you have now?
So we have our cotton rounds, scrunchies, face cloths. We have our tote bags, which actually uses a different Spoonflower substrate that uses the linen canvas. And I have reusable market bags just to replace like those grocery store plastic bags. And that uses their regular cotton. So.
And aesthetically, what would you say kind of ties all of the designs together in your mind? Like when you're looking, for a local artist, or you're looking on the marketplace and saying, hey, I want to work with this artist. What are you kind of looking for from the design perspective?
So at the beginning, obviously over time, our branding has kind of changed. So, I feel like at the beginning, I was very much focused on looking for minimal or abstract sort of designs. But over time, I realized that a lot of our customers love florals, love like those like nice like ditzy prints and stuff. So now we kind of have gravitated more towards that. But I still kind of like to keep the minimal and like the colorful together. So,
yeah. And I'm assuming you probably have some like really loyal customers who have been like repeat buyers of your products.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. That just seems like something that, once somebody finds this and buys them and then wants to buy them for other people or just wants to get more when theirs are worn out.
Yeah. Word of mouth has that's one of the reasons why we grew, is just a lot of the customers from the beginning, they have either sent my Etsy shop to their friends or family or purchased them as gifts. So,
and are you still using Etsy as the primary e-commerce, or do you have your own shop as well?
So I still use Etsy now. But in October of 2020, I did open an e-commerce shop too.
So, okay. And is that on Shopify or?
That's on Shopify.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. So you have the both going, and they're a little different as far as sending the traffic and things like that. Yeah, exactly. And so tell us a little bit about why you feel like you wanted to stick with sourcing unique fabrics on Spoonflower versus kind of buying commercially available fabrics, because that would have, I guess, been an option too.
Yeah. I guess it's really because the designs that you see on the Spoonflower marketplace, they are just so unique. You can't find that elsewhere. And I like that on Spoonflower, through the marketplace, it's a connection between artist and maker. I'm based in Canada, and a lot of the artists that we use, they're from all over the world. So without Spoonflower, I wouldn't have been able to find these amazing surface designers that we work with.
Yeah, and I love that connection because you're the maker and you're finding original art, art from artists all over the world to put onto your products. So the product doesn't look like anything you can find if you walked into a store or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. And so do you do any kind of in-person events as far as getting the word out and building word of mouth locally, or do you only sell online?
Yeah, so in that first year, 2019, that I opened the Etsy shop, it was a few months into it that the Etsy team actually reached out to me, and they wanted to purchase quite a few sets from us, actually, to make a press release. And it wasn't just my products. They were reaching out to a lot of Canadian Etsy shops. But that created a lot of buzz, and we were featured in a few magazine articles and things like that. And then with that, I started doing some local markets in Toronto. And that was really nice because sometimes it's nicer for people to see the prints and designs in person and feel the fabric and everything too. So.
Yeah. And what did you learn from sort of interacting in person with your customers that maybe you couldn't get online? Because I feel like you're right. That is such a special experience. People walk by the table, they comment, they say different things, they pick things up and put them back down. And just wondering kind of what feedback you were able to get.
It's actually kind of funny because my very first market, I had, I think, 6 or 7 sets of cotton rounds at the time. And I had just introduced the face cloths. I hadn't introduced the scrunchies at all. And I remember people walking by and everybody stopping at the table. And so many people would ask, "Hey, like, these look really cute, but what are they?" They actually, no, it's one of those things where even me, before writing that blog post, like, it's one of those things you don't think about to reuse cotton rounds or something, right? So then being in person, being able to tell people, hey, these are cotton rounds. They're just like the ones that you buy in the plastic bag, but they're reusable and you can wash them again and then you're not throwing them out. Being able to just explain that to people in person, that was really beneficial.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and cotton rounds, people use them to take off their makeup, for example, or to wash their face at the end of the day. I use them. And they are really, if you think about it, environmentally unfriendly because you just single use and you throw it away. So so that's good that you got that feedback to say, oh, I see this. I think it's cute, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So did you make any changes to the packaging or to the online listings in any way to kind of further explain it?
No, actually, because online, you can write in your little product description and explain what it is, right? I guess actually, yeah, no, in the packaging, I did change it to include like two cards that like would really explain like this is what it is, this is how you take care of it. Because I think at the beginning, I had only written on the branding like cotton rounds or something like that, right? With no explanation. So yeah.
Right, right. And these are something you can throw in the washing machine and then just take out and put in like a little bin in your bathroom or something.
Yeah, so from the very beginning, I included a little mesh bag that you can throw them in, then because they're so small, right? So that way they
Oh
don't get
yeah, they'll
lost.
probably get stuck on inside my sweatshirt or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's nice that you throw that in there for people to keep track of. That's super
Yeah.
cool. And so, do you have any plans for expansion as far as it sounds like you're still doing all the sewing and you're pretty much maybe doing everything? Is that right? Or do you have anybody working with you at this point?
Um, yeah, it's one of those things where like, from going from one small business to another, under that small business that I had started working for, yes, I did all the sewing or whatever, but like we wore many hats, right? Now I wear even more hats. So, yeah, I do all of the photography, all of the sewing, all of the manufacturing, everything. But in terms of expanding, last year I was able to hire my first employee, which is awesome. So I could kind of take some of that like sewing and production off of my shoulders. And then in early this year, we finally moved into a little studio. So no longer working from home. And I have some plans for a little in-store retail that we're hopefully going to open soon.
That's great. That's congratulations. That's so many big
Thank
steps.
you.
Yeah, hire an employee, move out of your house, for the retail, maybe it sounds like it's early stages. But do you have plans to include other artists or makers products beyond Freon Collective products?
Um, I would love to, honestly, but it's a really small space right now. And really, the studio is more for the work that we do because I do produce for other businesses too. But it's a little booth inside the studio. It's just our stuff right now, but
Okay.
maybe in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. And so, can you speak a little bit about photography? You did mention that when you were a beauty blogger, you got a lot of good kind of training, I guess, as a photographer, taking pictures of products. And so, your pictures for Freon Collective are really bright and very close up. So, you can see the texture of the fabric, you can see the stitching on the fabric, as well as the print. And I just wondered if you have tips for people out there who are struggling with product photography, because you've done a really nice job of it.
Oh, thank you. Um, yeah, so it was nice to have that background in beauty products photography because a lot of the times like it is a lot of like close up, you want to show off like the texture of the product or things like that. I don't have a background in photography, actually. It's just something that because I've been doing it for so many years, I just kind of learned daylight is best, natural light. And I mean, even if you look at some of my earliest photos, they're not as great as they are now. But yeah, even with a phone camera, like I have an iPhone, and that was how I took all of my photos in the beginning. Just make sure it's really focused, use daylight. Always a clear background is really nice too. That way you can just show off the print and the fabric really well, and it's not getting distracted by anything else. So.
Yeah, that's great. And can you talk a little bit about marketing? You mentioned you had the opportunity to try out some marketing at the small business where you were working previously, but how do you do marketing for Freon Collective? Are you using certain social platforms, or what are you using that's been working?
Yeah, again, I don't have a background in marketing, but what works for us is I primarily use Instagram. And I found that a lot of people, because it's a small business and it's a local business, a lot of people respond well to learning more about the business or learning about how things are made or seeing you actually make it. So in terms of marketing, that's more so what I do. I like to post a lot of the behind the scenes things on Instagram stories or even saying hi like in a post and talking more about this is what's coming up, or this is, we're releasing this print, or we'll see you at this market on Saturday or something like that. So
Yeah, because it's the special thing about a small business is that you make everything, and so the buyer, the consumer, can have a real connection with the person it's coming from. And does the Spoonflower printing process appeal to you because it is, printed in a sustainable way at Spoonflower versus sort of the more traditional way that fabric is printed, where there's a lot of water and dye waste?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And that's one of the things that being at local markets and in person too, that I always explain to customers is, so our products are made with 100% organic cotton, and with Spoonflower, they use plant and water-based inks and dyes through their digital printing process. So there's no like harsh chemicals or anything like that. So that really appeals to me, and that also really appeals to my customers, because obviously with purchasing something that is eco-friendly, how it's made, how it's printed is important too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess just to end, can you talk a little bit about how Spoonflower allowed you to grow your business in a way that maybe, another platform might not have, sort of the unique aspects of using Spoonflower to grow?
Yeah. So, obviously, like for some of the reasons that I had talked about before, like Spoonflower has been so important in growing my business. Just with the opportunities that they give to small businesses, like their small business grants or design challenges for the designers, they're just, the community is just amazing. But for me, particularly in running a small business in the beginning, not having any experience in how that works, or even a lot of capital to spend on materials, I like that being able to order or ordering with Spoonflower, we can order in really small quantities. Like there's no major minimums, right? So I love that we could grow and scale very slowly. So custom printing, a lot of the times, like they require a pretty large minimum, which is understandable. But with Spoonflower, it was great to just be able to order 1 yard of fabric as I needed it. And then as we grew, I would order 2 or 3 or 10. And now we order in rolls, which is amazing, right? So
yeah, I didn't know that they offered rolls. That's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Is there anything new coming up down the road for Freon Collective that you want people to know about? Any new products or new events or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have a new print launching this week, actually. It's by a local designer here in Toronto, so I'm really excited for it. And it's going to be available in all of our products, so cotton rounds, face cloths, scrunchies, and everything. And hopefully in July, our little retail stores should be open. So if you're local to Toronto, feel free to come by and visit. So
that's great. Well, this has been awesome, Nancy. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, and tell us where we can check you out if people want to come and check out Freon Collective.
Yeah, so you can just find us at Freon Collective on Instagram, Etsy, and all the links to our online shop and address and everything should be there. So
perfect. This is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Check out Nancy Mack's business at freoncollective.ca to learn more about her. Today's episode was powered by Spoonflower and Craft Industry Alliance. Get started making your business dreams a reality with Spoonflower, where you'll find over 1 million designs curated from thousands of artists worldwide. If those creative juices are really flowing, try your hand at uploading your own design and see your vision become a reality. Once it does, connect with fellow business owners for advice and support at craftindustryalliance.org. The audio in today's episode was edited and mixed by Matthew Talesford at Mixture Films. I'm Abby Glassenberg. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. And most importantly, tell your friends. Thank you so much.